Good morning, everyone. I'd like to invite Toronto Police Chief Myron Demke.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to welcome our partners from the Ontario government to Toronto Police Headquarters today to talk about important new measures to keep our communities safe. We are joined by the Attorney General, Doug Downey, Solicitor General Michael Kerzner, Associate Solicitor General Z. Hamid, and Associate Attorney General Michael Tibollo. They will address various aspects of their new bill, including what it will do to empower and protect victims, hold offenders accountable, and protect our communities. The Toronto Police Service, along with police leaders across the country, have long advocated for reforms that put public safety first, including strengthening our bail system. The fact that fail to comply with conditions is the third most common charge associated with firearms offenses reflects how frequently individuals breach the conditions of their release. Our efforts to deal with violent offenders on bail have led to the development of the Firearm Bail Support Team and the Bail Compliance Task Force, which has the support from the Government of Ontario, and I will have more to say on that in a few moments. I want to thank the Solicitor General, the Ontario government, for all their support and investment. I will now turn it over to the Attorney General, the Honourable Doug Downey.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm Doug Downey, Ontario's Attorney General, and it is great to be here alongside my colleagues for this very important announcement. And I want to thank the Toronto Police Service for hosting us here, and a special thank you to Chief Myron Demke for his leadership and his presence here today. Our government has been working hard, very hard, relentlessly, to build a stronger, safer community. Public safety is and will always remain our foremost priority, and that is why, as the latest step in our work to protect Ontario, we're here to deliver on our promise to fix the bail system and keep violent and repeat offenders off the streets. I've heard directly from victims of crime, families, police officers, and community leaders who are calling for a bail system that is real, consequential, and protects the public. We need a stronger bail system that puts the safety of innocent people first and prevents dangerous offenders from cycling in and out of custody. We've already taken many meaningful steps to strengthen public safety. Our historic investments are building capacity across the justice system to ensure no violent or repeat offender is ever released back due to space. We've taken unprecedented steps to allocate and appoint more judges and hire more Crown prosecutors and staff and victim service workers. And our government has stood shoulder to shoulder with frontline police services, ensuring that they have the tools and the resources to keep our communities safe. Just this past spring, our government announced the permanent, intensive, serious, violent crime bail teams to ensure dangerous offenders who have been charged with the most serious violent and dangerous crimes being held accountable. And we've made changes to the Bail Act to improve the collection of forfeited bail money and bring real consequences to the people who breach their conditions. But we know more has to be done. That's why our government is advancing a comprehensive, tough-on-crime bail reform strategy that will strengthen the rules, reinforce compliance, and keep violent and repeat offenders off the streets. However, Ontario cannot fix the problem alone. Premier Ford and our government have been calling on the federal government to do more for years. But just last month, Ontario welcomed the federal government's step in the right direction by introducing Bill C-14, Bail and Sentence Reform Act, which is something that Minister Sean Fraser brought forward in collaboration with many of the changes we were calling for. They include targeting serious offenses like violent auto theft, break-and-enters, human trafficking, violent assault, and sexual assault. Includes new reverse onus provisions and consecutive sentencing, as well as amendments to the Youth Criminal Justice Act, another thing Ontario specifically advocated for. But there is still more to do. We will continue to push the federal government to close gaps in the criminal code and to ensure communities across Ontario are protected. It's a privilege to be here today and to speak to the steps our government is taking to strengthen public safety and hold offenders accountable. My colleague, Associate Solicitor General, will now speak to the specific proposals we're introducing under this strategy. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Thank you, Attorney General, for not just your remarks, but for everything you do to keep our community safe. Today is a significant day for bail reform in our province and marks another milestone in our government's promise to fix the broken bail system. For too long, the bail system has allowed violent repeat offenders back on our street, putting innocent people at risk. And you heard Chief Demke talked about that as well. In the latest step in our government's plan to protect Ontario and keep our streets and communities safe, we will soon be introducing legislation to strengthen bail compliance, hold offenders accountable, and keep violent repeat offenders behind bars. Under our proposed bail system, a cash security deposit would be required in the full amount ordered by the court before the accused is released from custody. Right now, the courts will sometimes allow a person to be released on bail with a promise to pay. And that means that the accused or the sureties are not required to provide money up front. By requiring the full amount of promise to pay cash up front, there's a real consequence for repeat offense and non-compliance with bail conditions. Not to mention, if we already have the cash at hand, it makes collecting the debt easier. Secondly, we will introduce further changes to the Bail Act that would also improve how we collect and administer bail debts. We're proposing measures that would enhance collections tool for garnishing wages, seizing and selling property, and using property liens. Meanwhile, we will also follow up on previous amendments to require sureties to provide their up-to-date information so that a province can collect forfeited bail more easily. Thirdly, we're going to support a comprehensive bail reform strategy with new digital tools to track repeat offenders and those not in compliance with the bail conditions. This includes creating a database to streamline and enhance security checks to hold sureties accountable and increase public safety. The database would increase information sharing between police services and provide a centralized repository of information between police and prosecutors to ensure that critical details are available for bail hearing. We would also consider the idea of a user fee system for GPS monitoring. Ankle bracelets are an effective way to monitor people on bail, but these systems are expensive. A user pay approach would ensure that those subject to GPS monitoring contribute to the cost of the device, while Access Fund could be used to support victim services and other vital justice programs. And lastly, we're going to examine how we can better support the prosecution side of the equation. Our strategy would expand bail prosecution teams, which are made up of dedicated prosecutors that work together with local police services to prepare the strongest possible case in bail hearings to keep repeat violent offenders behind bars. They've been incredibly effective in managing over 4,000 serious violent cases since 2023. These new tools will give law enforcement and courts the resources they need to get tough on crime and protect Ontario. Violent repeat offenders continue to put our communities at risk, and that's why we're taking decisive action to stop it. The proposed new measures that we will soon bring forward will make real difference and build on our government's ongoing fight to strengthen the bail system, strengthen bail compliance, and protect victims of crime, and keep violent repeat offenders behind bars and off our streets. When it comes to public safety, there can be no half measures. It's time to restore law and order in this province and send a message to the criminals. Your free ride is over. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to incredible Solicitor General, Minister Kerzner. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Minister Hamid, and all those who are with us today. Let me remind you why we are here. Our government, led by Premier Ford, will never stop in prioritizing the safety and well-being of everyone that calls Ontario home. And this includes saying thank you to the men and women, the brave men and women that put on their uniform each day to keep us safe. And I want to specifically acknowledge the associations that help in this measure: the Toronto Police Association, the Police Association of Ontario, and the OPPA. Today, as we have done before, we're coming forward again with bold, innovative, and practical solutions to enhance our public safety. And the reason is obvious. Our government has never stopped in believing that our inherent right to live safely in our own homes and communities is the guiding principle that drives our actions every day to protect Ontario. We believe in the singular concept that the rule of law must matter, because a safe Ontario is a strong Ontario. We can't have a justice system where repeat offenders are arrested and then out on bail actually on the same day. So we're acting. We're standing up when others did not and when others will not. Our government is without precedent in its resolve to make sure that we meet the moment head on with the right legislation, regulations, expectation, and tone that people trust. The measures that my friend, the Attorney General, and my friend, the Associate Solicitor General, have outlined are critical to keeping criminals off our streets and behind bars in jail. We have always been transparent on how we go about this, and let me give you a few examples. We've doubled the annual number of police officers graduating the basic constable training program at the Ontario Police College from 1,200 per year, and that was in 2022, to over 2,500 per year. That will be this year in 2025. After 15 years of the Liberals neglecting our correctional system, which included closing 7 jails that they don't like talking about and taking 2,000 beds offline. In fact, they closed under their watch, the Blue Water Youth Detention Center in Goderich, but that wasn't enough. I went there myself to see it. They actually called in the Canadian Armed Forces to come in and use it for target practice. We believe in doing things differently. We're investing, we're building, and we're opening up new correctional beds like never before. In fact, as I've said, we would bring 1,000 new beds online soon, and we are, and we will likely exceed that target in places like Toronto, in London, in Niagara, in Thunder Bay, and in Sudbury. And we are seriously exploring reopening the jails that the Liberals closed in Walkerton and in Brantford. We're hiring thousands of new correctional officers and making the repairs to our existing facilities that need to be done now in order to keep Ontario safe. And one other fact I would like to share with you. Thanks to Premier Ford and his intervention, our government has recently freed up over 400 spaces in our jails, thanks to his advocacy to the federal government to pick up their already sentenced prisoners who were sentenced to 2 years greater than a day and move them out of the provincial jails. And that actually happened very recently. When others in the province told us to stop, we didn't listen to them. We just kept going, something that we're doing again today. And let me be clear, we will leave no stone unturned. Tomorrow, I will be proud to rise in the legislature and table a bill that will set out how our government, under the leadership of Premier Ford, will protect Ontario. That's why our mission, my mission, is simple. We will always protect Ontario. Thank you. Merci, miigwech. And now I'm pleased to call back my own police chief from Toronto Police Service, where I have the privilege of serving as a local MPP for the riding of York Centre. Chief, please join us again, Chief Myron Demkiw.
Thank you, Minister Kerzner. Thank you for these initiatives to empower and protect victims, hold offenders accountable, and make our communities safer. In 2019, the Toronto Police Service developed a bail compliance dashboard to support officers conducting the bail checks that we do. In the last year, Toronto Police conducted over 21,000 bail compliance checks. Right now, we are monitoring over 1,200 offenders on our dashboard, including 677 individuals for firearms offenses. We are proud that the Government of Ontario is using our innovative tool to roll out the provincial bail compliance dashboard across the province. Policing in Toronto is extremely complex, and I want to thank our talented members who collaborate across jurisdictional boundaries to support safer communities everywhere. We are truly blessed with amazing members in the policing sector who strive to improve the lives of people across Ontario. An example of their ongoing innovative work can also be found in our firearms bail support team, which provides enhanced bail packages for the most violent offenders, ensuring Crown attorneys have the critical information needed during bail hearings. The team conducts more than 1,000 surety investigations every year and fills crucial gaps across the service, stepping in whenever bail investigations intersect with public safety. While most community safety indicators in Toronto are down this year, including homicides, shootings, and car thefts, we continue to see an alarming amount of young people involved in gun-related activity, with a clear rise over the past several years. So now is not the time to slow down. On the contrary, it's the time to press forward, innovate, collaborate, and continue our efforts. These additional measures announced today to improve bail compliance and keep repeat violent offenders in custody will make our communities safer. These initiatives are essential to protect the public and prevent crime, restore public trust in the justice system, and support police officers who see firsthand the harm caused to victims by violent criminals. So I want to thank again our Ontario government partners here today. Thank you for your unwavering and continued support, and we'll now open it up for questions. Thank you.
We will now take questions from the media. If you could please come forward and state your name and outlet, and just a reminder that is one question and one follow-up. Thank you.
Good morning. Courtney Hills with CP24. I'm wondering, with the cash up front, are you concerned that this will be enough of a deterrent for someone who may commit a crime and is willing to pony up the cash, or their family is, because they get their freedom, they might not care?
So, if I understand the question correctly, right now, it's just a promise to pay, which means that there's no penalty for them anyway. And it takes incredible resources and time to try to get that cash back. With cash up front, we'll be able to collect that right away. So it creates a disincentive for them to reoffend, and it creates an incentive for the surety to keep an eye on them and make sure they comply with bail conditions.
My follow-up question for the Solicitor General, you mentioned plans for about 1,000 more beds to come online soon. You said perhaps you'll exceed that. Can you give us a timeline, any idea when we might see more spaces in jails?
Well, the spaces are opening now. We said we would open up units that were closed a long time ago at the Toronto Intermittent Centre, and that's at Toronto South. We said we would open up more beds in London at the Regional Intermittent Centre. Those beds are open. We said we would complete on time the Thunder Bay new jail correctional complex, which will be coming online within a year's time. We said we would open up new modular builds. We've done that already in Thunder Bay and in Kenora, and now we announced this summer we're going to do it in Niagara. We said we would do it in Sudbury, and we said we would do it in Maplehurst. So when we said we would do these things, we are doing it. We're very, very proactive. The question or the comment that I made is, it was revealing that the neglect that the Ontario Liberal government left the system when they were leaving office in the early part of 2018 was in shambles. And the 7 jails that they closed had the net effect of taking 2,000 beds offline. That wasn't right. And I've gone so far as to look specifically, how could we even reopen the Brantford jail, which I have toured, and the Walkerton jail, which I had toured. So we are leaving no stone unturned. We will be very, very aggressive in opening up new jails because in the end of the day, that means that if a person gets arrested, I have a place for them.
Good morning. James Bolinoff, Toronto Star. I just had a general question about this legislature. You mentioned introducing this bill tomorrow. How soon are you going to push it through the legislature?
So we're introducing it tomorrow, and it will go through the regular process. I don't really know how long that would take. It's hard to predict that. Yeah, it's up to the House leader. It's up to the amount of debate. So you'll see. We'll find out at the same time.
And then my follow-up is for the Attorney General. The Star recently wrote about Ontario Court Justice Paul Curry, who you once considered appointing as Chief Justice, being accused of rape and assault allegations. Do you have any comment on this?
It was an open call for applications, but it's an ongoing hearing, so I have nothing that I can say in particular.
Clara Pasica, CBC. Is there anything in this new bill, any element at all that will tackle some of this rise in youth becoming involved in criminality in the first place? Is there any sort of preventing youth from entering the sort of criminal life?
So even prior to this bill, we've introduced different grants for police services, community safety, community safety grant that requires police services to have a plan to prevent violence to begin with. But because the criminal code is federal, it's one of our asks for the federal government. In fact, one of the asks the federal government did not respond to, which we're still fighting for, is making sure that there's serious penalties for adults that recruit youth and exploit youth to commit crime. Similar to what happens if you use firearm. Your penalty goes up, and same thing should happen if you exploit youth in a community.
And then on the having people who are accused of a crime pay to get to use sort of an ankle bracelet. Are you concerned at all that if someone's already involved in organized crime, they're just going to be sort of paying for things with the money they've successfully been getting by being involved in organized crime?
So it's something we're still looking into. We haven't figured out details yet, but just to handle that part, it's courts that order ankle monitors, and right now the taxpayers end up paying for them. It only makes sense to make sure that offenders that have created the situation are the ones paying for it, but details are still being worked out.
Hi, Megan Fitzpatrick from CBC. I'm just hoping you can clarify something because I'm a bit confused by the language in the press release about having those accused pay up front, because it says they'd be required to pay the deposit once the accused person is released. So when are they paying it? Like, do they have to pay it in order to get out, or do they get out and then still promise to pay the deposit?
No, that's a great catch, actually. We're still working out the details because the legislation hasn't been introduced yet. So you'll get more details over the next few weeks as we work them out. However, if the court orders a release right now, the person will be released, whether it's cash up front or a promise to pay. The person will be released. They won't be held behind bars on the failure to pay. But we're still working out additional details.
Okay, but you're introducing the legislation tomorrow. So.
We are introducing the legislation tomorrow, but all the regulations that are related to it still need to be worked out.
Okay, just to follow up on my colleague from the Star's question, in terms of this legislation being introduced, with the recent couple of bills, you have been rushing them through the legislature and skipping the committee meetings and limiting the number of hours of debate. Are you committing with this bill, because it's a pretty major one and one of great public interest, to holding committee meetings and actually going through the regular process? You said it would go through the regular process, but the regular process is holding committee meetings.
It will go through 3 readings, but we haven't figured out details yet. It's up to the House leader to see how the schedule is managed.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Jamie with City TV. This is off topic. This is regarding the fire in Brampton, the fatal fire, multiple fatal fire in Brampton. And I'm asking about the right to inspect. Patrick Brown, the mayor of Brampton, has expressed that he had sent several building inspectors to the location and they were denied entry, so he couldn't inspect the building. Is that true? Is that the end of his resources? Let me line up my camera first.
Well, thanks, Jamie. I just want to say it's a tragedy beyond measure. Our thoughts are with the family and the community. The Office of the Fire Marshal is assisting in the investigation, so I can't speak more to that. But in the end of the day, there's a requirement, I think, on all of us, all Ontarians, that in our homes we must have working smoke detectors. We must have fire extinguishers. We must discuss with our own children, I have 3, as to how to escape if the house caught on fire. Was just a few doors away from my own home a few last month, that there was a terrible fire, and thank goodness everybody was able to make it out. But it is a wake-up call to all of us. Again, I urge you, especially now before the holidays, check your smoke detectors. Make sure you know where your fire extinguishers are. Make sure you have a plan of emergency exit. But to the matter, Jamie, the Office of the Fire Marshal will work with the fire service of local jurisdiction and do their investigation.
The mayor also expressed the fact that these rooming houses are a concern to him, and he can't get into them. But I'm looking at the Fire Protection and Prevention Act, Section 19, that says the fire department does have warrantless access powers to get into a building like that and inspect it. Why wasn't this done at this location or at any of the other locations that Patrick Brown is explaining as a problem or a concern with fire? Because these are rooming houses. These are not places that really follow any legal requirements.
No, thank you again, Jamie, for the question. The fire service in the area has local jurisdiction. This is something that they will have to investigate. And I know Mayor Brown does a tremendous job in caring for the city of Brampton. He does so with a love for his community. It's a tragedy what happened. Let the investigation take place. There'll be lessons learned. The Office of the Fire Marshal, led by our Fire Marshal, John Pegg, will keep me informed, and we'll try to not only take the lessons that are learned, but make sure that you know, in future, things like this and the barriers do not happen again. My most important message, especially now at the holidays, is please check your smoke detector. Make sure you know where your fire extinguishers are. Make sure that as homeowners, we ourselves, or as renters, that we take precautions also to keep ourselves safe. Thank you.
This concludes our press conference for today. Thank you.